The following is a presentation of TFNN. The Morning Market Kickoff with your host, Tommy O'Brien. Now, Tommy O'Brien.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Tommy O'Brien, coming to you live from TFNN. Happy New Year. Happy New Year's Eve. Have a great day, folks. Stay safe out there. I know a lot of us are staying home tonight. A different New Year's Eve unlike any other. If you are out, be safe. No drunk driving. Take an Uber. And let's kick off 2021 in a big way. We're going to start things off, folks. We got a kind of calm market right now. S&P's minus by 2. We have the NASDAQ up by 8. Dow off 18. Russell minus 3. Some action in Bitcoin. Not surprising there, but we're going to jump right over. We get weekly jobless claims right now. 787,000. We're under 800,000. You could call that encouraging. The market was looking for 828,000. The only thing I stress is that in any other week, any other year, I should say, this would be a record. I believe the weekly record prior to COVID was about 692,000 jobs for an initial jobless claim on a weekly basis. We've been stuck at about 800,000 to 900,000 since the pandemic began. We come in at 787,000. Market was looking for 828 though, so we beat slightly the market. No real reaction on that number. 3721 in the S&Ps right now. As I mentioned, Bitcoin, how about new all-time highs? Yet again, we make it up last night to 29,700. You want to see some trading ranges, folks. These are 15-minute bars we're looking at, and you're talking about bars that are more than 1,000 right now, folks. That bar goes from 29,550 down to 28,470. We're seeing it yet again, almost as in 6 a.m. this morning. We're up near 29,500. We just dipped to a low in Bitcoin of 28,230, and we're up almost $500 from there. 28,720. You put it on a daily. Quite the year for Bitcoin, quite the few months, going from whether it's 10,000 that we started off basically October, just above that level, or you zoom it in of where we are in just December. You're talking about November 27th. We had a down day that took us all the way down to 16,520. Remarkable. And you look where we were on December 11th, you were at a low of 17,575, still up more than $10,000 from that price level. All right, commodity-wise, crude oil down a bit, but hanging right near $48. Crude, one of the most interesting stories of 2021, going to negative prices in April. I think it was negative $38 that contract in particular expired at. That making all the headlines. We come back and end the year at about 48. Kicked off the year at about 60, though. So you're down about 20% is another way to put it for the year. But things looked a lot bleaker in April. With the shutdown, air travel so hampered, the economy suffering, crude bounces back to about $48. Gold contract back above 1,900. Check out the action on gold last night. We make it above 1,904 at about 10 p.m. Eastern time. You sell off down to 1,890, and this morning we're up to 1,901 right now in gold. Silver's up 4 cents right now at 26.61, and notes and bonds will jump over. Pretty muted action right now. We're looking at a yield in the 10-year of 0.93%. The 10-year is flat at 137.30. The 30-year is off 3 ticks at 172.24. And I imagine, folks, you're going to see a very calm market trail off. You know, starting the day off like this, getting a weekly jobless claims number pretty much in line, a beat, if anything, under 800,000, with cases spiking so dramatically, encouraging to see 50,000 less than the 820,000 they might have been looking for. We got the S&Ps off by 2 at 3722. See the NASDAQ. I mean, talk about a tight trading range since the close of action yesterday, folks. You're talking about 20 points in the NASDAQ 100 from 12,840 to 12,860. And we're sitting right in the middle of that range we've been in overnight at 12,852. Now, it's going to be low volume. Doesn't mean low volatility, because certain players, less players in the market, you're going to see more control. If you see some of those big orders come in, we'll see what happens. All right, jumping around to some of the headlines we have going on. We'll kick things off. So from tech to Tesla, how about 14 trillion? That's what stocks got in the COVID year. We'll jump over to Tesla in a moment. Talk about a story, right? There's the rebound in the S&P 500. The index went from peak to trough to peak again within 175 days. I mean, the resurgence in the low we have, the panic selling, the uncertainty of a pandemic going across the globe. Never happened before in my lifetime. And you see, I mean, the rebound, the V-shaped recovery, right? Just remarkable, folks. It really is. We'll pull up the S&P to take a look at the action we've had. That's a 5-year daily. Let me put it on a 1-year daily. Now, here's our line. We talked about it a couple days ago. This is the break-even line for the year. We kick it off at about 32, 36 in the S&P. That's where we close out 2019. You dip down to 2174. But, man, you know, something that we can learn a lot from this year in the market, in general, in life probably, but down to 2174. And, man, you're talking about within the span of, we're down there on March 23rd. March 26th, you had climbed 500% or 25% off the lows, and then it was a straight rocket ship, folks, and we were back up there by June 8th. And basically, you look at the consolidation that we put together from June 8th. Now, yeah, this is really where things get interesting, okay? Because I looked at this. So June 8th, we're trading at break even. You dip down to a price level of 29.23. You then accelerate up to 3,600. So call it just 3,000 up to 3,600. It's a simple 20%. Okay, so what you had is you had a 20% run upwards from the lows of June 15th to the highs of September 2nd. Meanwhile, you had a 20% run upwards, and in the same essence, you went from June 9th to October 30th, potentially even November 2nd. Okay, so that's 4 full months of basically a consolidation of meandering around this line, the market trying to figure out, can it really make sense with the economic numbers going on that we are dramatically higher coming into the end of the year? We pull back once into September 23rd. We pull back again into November 2nd. Everything of uncertainty hanging in the balance then. We had an election coming up. We had results coming from the vaccines. And we get clarity in the election, no matter what people say. We got clarity in the vaccine for 95% efficacy, and the market finally said, you know what, we are okay being forward-looking and trading positive for the year because corporations have adapted in ways we never thought possible in a period of time that is shorter than any of us imagined in terms of the ability to transform their businesses and adapt at a time like we've never seen before. And man, things are very bleak, but they were forecast to be a lot bleaker. And the transition from online delivery, pickup orders, all of that stuff, right? Instacart, DoorDash, Uber Eats, etc. We sit right now at 37.21, folks. We're up nearly 500 S&P points. But interesting, we talked about this on the program, this break-even line. Technical analysis doesn't always need to be super sophisticated, folks. This was a big line all year. You saw it early in the year, late January. You saw the first time that we actually got a real pullback on this run was at break even. Because people said, man, we're break even for 2020 in early June. We got a pandemic. We're 6 months away potentially from vaccines being administered. Market pulls back and they would say, you know what? But people as in corporations keep delivering results. We charge higher at 3,600. We're sitting at 37.21. Now you want to see something. How about the NQs? We kick off the NQs at 8,700. That break-even line nowhere in this chart because we've been well over it for a considerable period of time. We'll go over some of the equities, folks. We'll take a look at Tesla. We'll take a look at Amazon, Home Depot, Lowe's, Target, Walmart, some of the winners of this year especially. We'll be right back.
Hi folks, this is Tom O'Brien. Are you looking to buy or sell gold, silver, platinum, coins, or bullion? We can help. At Tiger Precious Metals and Stones, we specialize in the buying and selling of gold, silver, as well as collectible U.S. and foreign coins. We not only buy your unwanted or broken jewelry, but you can trade that in for gold and silver coins too. Call Andy now at 727-329-8245 for a quote over the phone and to lock in the current market price. Call us now at 727-329-8245.
TFNN has launched our brand new website. You can still visit us at the same TFNN.com URL, but when you do, you'll see a new and improved homepage with a much simpler navigation, whether you're watching Tiger TV live in high definition or just accessing your newsletter subscriptions. We even have new pricing in 6 months and yearly options. Check out the new TFNN.com now and experience all the upgrades. TFNN.com, educating investors.
Hi folks, this is Tom O'Brien. The printing presses are working 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. The U.S. deficit has risen 200% in 1 year with no end in sight. The markets are looking for an additional stimulus bill to get us through this once-in-a-generation pandemic. There is no free lunch, folks. The more stimulus dollars put into the marketplace, the less your dollar is worth each and every day. This is the time to protect yourself with a portion of your portfolio in the metal market. The Gold Report comes out each Monday morning. I bisect and dissect the dollar, silver, gold, the XAU, and the HUI. The Gold Report is a long-term hedge against the dilution of your buying power. The U.S. has put more than $6 trillion into the marketplace in the last 6 months, with more expected in the next few months. The market did and does need the stimulus, but it will have long-term implications on our buying power. The Gold Report comes with a 30-day money-back guarantee. Go to TFNN.com and order the Gold Report now. Protect your buying power. Order the Gold Report now.
Are China A-shares hot or not? If you trade China A-shares, now may be time to take a closer look. Trade CHAU or CHAD, Directions Daily CSI 300 China A-share Bull and Bear ETFs. China A-shares in either direction. Visit directioninvestments.com today. An investor should consider the investment objectives, risks, charges, and expenses of the Direction shares carefully before investing. The prospectus and summary prospectus contain this and other information about Direction shares. To obtain a prospectus or summary prospectus, please contact Direction shares at 866-476-7523. The prospectus or summary prospectus should be read carefully before investing. An investment in the funds is subject to risk, including the possible loss of principal. The funds are designed to be utilized only by sophisticated investors such as traders and active investors. Distributor Foreside Fund Services, LLC.
Don't forget, you can listen to TFNN live on your mobile device 24 hours per day. Go to TFNN.com, then hit Watch Tiger TV. That's TFNN.com, then hit Watch Tiger TV for the latest market information.
Welcome back, folks. We get the S&P's minus 2 points right now. Pretty intriguing. All these markets right up there near all-time highs. You take a look at the Russell, put it on a 15-minute. Quite the extension we had to lower prices yesterday. You really see it accelerate, though, out of the gate yesterday. Quite the acceleration Tuesday we had to the downside. Yesterday, a bit of a pop. You compare this chart, right? The highs on Monday of 2,032. You take a look at the NQs. The highs on Monday, we actually make highs on Tuesday in the NQs, right up near that level as well. We got a couple questions over here in the YouTube Tigers Den. Going to take a look first at Starbucks. So Starbucks, very strong company. I have a little bit of Starbucks from prior to all this, just in an investment for disclosure. So I coffee, folks, the biggest drug in the world. You cannot go wrong. So I want to look at a daily. We'll pull it back. Quite the fall off for Starbucks. I'm going to back things up real quick for a 3-year weekly just to see the type of volatility. I mean, Starbucks, we went from 2018 at a price of 50 up to 100. We touched almost that exact level. I mean, look at this low we got, folks. 50.02 in March. Talk about round numbers, okay? We trade down to 50, and since then we've got a double bagger up to this level. Now, the previous highs, we're looking at a high right there of 99.72. That's from July of 2019. Now, Starbucks in particular, just because I was following the stock and had some equity in it, hit earlier than most equities from COVID because of their exposure to China, where things were beginning to get locked down originally. So China begins getting locked down. You see actually the first impact because Starbucks, so heavily invested in China, trades from a price level of 93. You dip down to a level of 84. So you lose $9, right? In that level, things seem okay. The world finds out in February that potentially we're going to get hit. Really, things accelerate in the beginning of March. You trade to 50. You climb back up to this 80 level, and we had quite a little consolidation going on between 70 and 80, and that was an area from April to August. And since then, it's been a nice trend upward. Now, we're $6 above the previous high we had on the 3-year weekly, okay? I mean, obviously, we're going to have volume at these lows of panic selling. Long term, it's a great chart. Depends what you're doing. Short term, we've accelerated, and we might have some room to jump around at these levels. I mean, whether you're drawing channel lines, it's a pretty decent channel that we're in upwards. But man, I mean, you want to talk about when you talk about retracements that are possible, folks. And I'm just going to pull up a Fibonacci real quick to show you. I mean, let's do the biggest one possible in terms of the whole run we've had. Okay, a 382 retracement brings us back to under $85. That would be a natural retracement, right? Well, let's say we get a little bit more conservative, which might be right. We say, okay, maybe you don't go the whole move. Maybe you go from the lows that we had in June, late June, or even early July, which is really when it's been a one-way rocket ship. We chopped around a bit here, but since July 14th, we've gone straight from $71 to $105. Now that 382 alone brings you back to 93. You're talking about $12 hit. You're talking about 12, 13%, 12, 11, 12% for this equity. So when I look at equities like this, if I want to own it in the long term, you don't have to wait forever because it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to pull back, right? You could always scale in 25% now, 25% in 4 months, 25 in 4 months, 25 in 4 months, and you're in there over a period of a year with 4 different entries or 3 different entries, however you want to do that. But in the short term, you might see some volatility. I just pulled it. We've been a one-way rocket ship. I mean, look where we were in the beginning of November. We just traded up $20 from 85 to 105. So something you got to be careful with there for sure. But I have some Starbucks, strong company. Coffee's going nowhere, folks. And the reason why I had Starbucks was because of their exposure to China and the growth over there in the long run. All right, we also want to look at Boeing. We got a question talking about Boeing. Talk about an interesting story. I did have some Boeing in the beginning of all this. One of the equities that I actually got rid of in a long-term trade. Now, the reason why is because here's the 737 MAX for Boeing. From 446, we're going all the way back to March of 19. It gets grounded after 2 accidents. It just got put back in the air. I believe it was Monday, right? Tuesday, maybe? It was up there. Boeing, without COVID, was a great opportunity, I believe, in this consolidation area around 350 when you had just been at 450. When COVID hit, that scenario changed dramatically, and you traded down to 89. Thankfully, I was not in this all the way down to 89. Now, the point being, vaccines are starting. They're starting a lot slower than we had hoped, with about 2.6 million Americans, I believe, something like that, maybe 2.4. I believe it's 2.6 as of today. They were hoping for 20 million by December. So that needs to be ramped up, but I expect it will. Point being, we're going to need that type of exposure for international travel, but you're already seeing the orders come back in for Boeing. They had a tough scenario, to put it lightly, in terms of the corporate governance that allowed those 2 planes to crash. But if you think of the long term, folks, and this was always, even the argument here at 350, even the argument at some point, but you got into dicey territory. But the United States of America is not going to let Boeing go bankrupt, because we shouldn't, because we need a company that makes airplanes. Okay, so Boeing's going to be around. You put this back on the monthly, my goodness, right? I mean, look at where we went. And I was looking at this stock at the time. I mean, look at what you took back on this whole run to lower prices. You took back all the way to April of 2013. 7 years of gains in Boeing got taken back in a period of about a year. And that incorporated 2 problems for Boeing. That was their 737 MAX, and that was also the acceleration for COVID down to 89. But you can see, even at 216, we're now back approaching. We're coming into 2021, so you're 3.5 years removed from that price. You might take some time to get back in there, but you look at Boeing, I mean, a portion of your portfolio in a company like Boeing, now that it looks like we have the vaccine, some of those variables are out, it'll take some time. But yeah, I could see a good investment in that. And as to where you get in, again, if you're going really forward looking for an investment of 5 or 10 years, you don't have to be so worried about entries. If you're making a short-term trade, even again, I try and keep it simple, folks. I'm always looking at Fibonacci retracement numbers because they're the easiest thing for me to understand what type of moves are possible. So maybe you look for an entry at 205. You're looking at a 38% retracement from just what we've done in November. You take it back to about 205. Might be somewhere that you want to be in there, depending on how long you plan on holding that stock. All right, let's jump around to some of the stocks I mentioned. There's been no bigger story than Tesla, and did we just hit, I believe we just hit an all-time high, folks, is what we did intraday on Tesla. We'll look it up. The high on February 18th it was 6.9. Yes, we did. We hit it. Why not? Tesla, it's going to end the year right now. It at least has the print, $696.60, December 31st. Tesla trading to all-time. It seems appropriate that a company like Tesla is trading to all-time highs on December 31st of 2020, right? I would say it does. Amazon shares, they pulling back a bit. Oh, we're not open yet. That's what's happening. Amazon pulled back yesterday. We are trading basically flat this morning at 32.78, but my goodness, the year Amazon has had. This was one of the opportunities, folks, that I learned the most in terms of the market selling off everything, irrational selling across the board. I mean, you know, there were only few companies that actually did not sell off. But if you zoom in on this chart enough, folks, okay, there's the beginning of March. Even Zoom traded from 130 to 100 somehow. We'll go over some of those stocks when we come right back. Stay tuned, folks.
Back in the day, I joined Hotel California in 2006, and like many of you, was drawn in by, as well as,
Whatever you think about, you bring about. Whatever you focus on grows.
you see, I believe that everything in life happens for us, not to us, and Tom ignited the fire within me to want to learn how to master the markets. So how did I go from knowing nothing about technical analysis to becoming the #1 market timer for the S&P 500 in 2018 and the #2 market timer in 2019? Simply put, I hired coaches with a proven track record, which led me to a whole new set of tools that I created to interpret the message of buyers and sellers. I would love the opportunity to teach you this award-winning set of tools and help you improve your market timing. You can test drive my newsletter service, Mastering Probabilities, for the next 30 days with no risk to you. Plus, you'll gain access to archive workshops that'll take you step by step through my system. Sign up today by going to the homepage of TFNN.com and selecting Mastering Probability in the newsletter tab.
If you haven't checked out the newsletters page of TFNN.com, what are you waiting for? All of the TFNN newsletters are informative, up-to-date, affordable, and a must-have for every trader looking to gain a competitive informational edge in today's markets. TFNN newsletters cover every aspect of the markets to offer you the very latest in market news. Plus, new subscribers get to test drive our newsletters risk-free for 30 days. From all aspects of the markets, including stocks, bonds, metals, commodities, and tech, there's a newsletter to fit your needs exclusively from TFNN. Stay informed each day you trade and get that competitive edge that will help you stay ahead of the game. Visit our newsletters page by going to TFNN.com and click the newsletters button near the top of the page. TFNN.com, educating investors.
Introducing Primal Edge.
Today, it's even more important to take a supplement that complements your health. Primal Edge is specifically formulated to boost your immune system and help with weight loss, better sleep, stress reduction, and the need to detox.
Our early ancestors found all their nutritional requirements in the wild environment. But today, our food sources don't contain the vitamins, minerals, and nutrients that we need to stay healthy and strong.
That's why we need Primal Edge Daily Nutrition. It includes a special blend of ionic, soil-based, vitamins, minerals, fatty and amino acids in an easy-to-use liquid form.
Primal Edge is powered by highly concentrated humic and fulvic acids, nature's preferred delivery system. They've been called miracle molecules because, like sunlight, air, and water, without them, life cannot exist.
That's right, Ellen. They ensure we receive all the nutrition we need to be healthy and thrive. We take it every morning.
Primal Edge. Just $89 exclusively at TFNN.com.
Don't forget, you can listen to TFNN live on your mobile device 24 hours per day. Go to TFNN.com, then hit Watch Tiger TV. That's TFNN.com, then hit Watch Tiger TV for the latest market information.
Welcome back, folks. We got a pretty calm market staying right where we kicked things off with the S&P's down about 2 points. So getting into that jobless number real quick, surprise drop, though virus risk remains. I would say that to the least. So the number coming in, folks, and there we are. We're kind of stuck at that about 800,000 number. There we are. I mean, remarkable. The first week was about 7 million. The second week was 6 point something. Third week in the 6 or 7. Nonetheless, we'll see where we persist. We got to get over this virus, folks. We got to get that vaccine distributed. That's the only way we're coming out of this. Now, you want to talk about some losses, folks. Where are we? We're talking about Tesla. Oh, come on. Don't do this to me there. No. Oh, is that one? I had Tesla losses, folks. Yeah, unfortunately, it jumped away from me. It talked about that. I believe it's $38 billion that we have had in losses in Tesla for that short shares. Either way, that's unfortunate. We'll bring it up in the 10 o'clock show with Tom. The last article I was going to finish it up with, home buyers. Talk about a frenzy of a home market, folks. The share of your income needed, affording a U.S. typical home is the hardest it's been in 12 years. Share of income needed up at almost 30% from where we were in 2012. You're talking about at about 20%. The only time we've been at this level back in about 2008. Housing prices rising dramatically. You don't see quite the same acceleration as we saw in incomes. Just trying to see if I could find that article on Tesla. Not the year to be short, folks. I don't need to tell you that, and especially not the year to be short a company like Tesla. We'll wrap it up with theirs, as we're basically sitting at all-time highs, almost to the tick in Tesla right now, folks. At 694, you make it down to 70. Now remember, this company went 6 for 1, I believe. I mean, I'm starting to struggle to do math. Is that $4,200 Tesla would be trading at right now? Quite a year, folks. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you for an amazing year. Stay tuned, folks. We got live programming all day. Have a great New Year's Eve. Stay safe out there. Social distance. Wear a mask. And we'll see everybody in 2021. Stay tuned, folks. Larry Pesavento. He's coming up next. We'll be right back.